Here we go.
Good
Welcome.
morning. Welcome to FYI. For your information, I am Gerard Fernandez alongside Sherry Duncan this morning. It is Friday, TGIF, Friday the 24th of June, 2022.
The morning after the day before.
The morning after the day before, as Sherry said, how are you this morning? I'm dragging through right now.
Shout a good birdie, that's what it means.
I'm dragging through as it is right now, but it has been awesome. It has been a good week altogether. And as we head into the weekend, I hope everything is going well at your end also. Guys, let me know how you've been. Let me know where you're joining from. Make sure to share
all
share
important
the stream.
things.
Very, very important things in the morning. I see Beatrice is up and about.
And we love it. Love it.
Isabella Butters, good morning to you guys. How are you guys this morning? Everyone, it has been quite an amazing week thus far. The month is almost over. 1 week left to go.
Yeah.
But we are in it, you know, enjoying every minute of what we can and dealing with the rest as best as we can.
You know, once you head past June into July, you know, you're running up to Christmas. You know, it's all Christmas from there. You know, it's Happy Christmas.
But there is something that says Christmas in July.
There is that. There's that too. There's that thing. People start some shopping very early, trying to get in on the deals and so on.
I'm not that person. I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I intend to have a phenomenal Christmas this year. So you see, I'm starting to think ahead.
I'm happy. I'm happy to hear you say that, and I want to hear some more. And Gwazi Griffith, I want to say, go on. You know, tell us more. What's happening?
Family, you know, Christmas is all about family for me, and I'm big on family. I have a large family altogether. Christmas is always about family, so I intend to have that. This is Spice Man here this morning. Keep Dowling very, very.
Spice Man might be very happy. Are you happy with the results? We're coming to Grenada in a couple minutes. Is Spice Man happy this morning? Tell us, please. Let us know.
Spice Man said it's a different Grenada this morning.
Good. Right. We saw some of the celebration last night. I joined you a little bit on one of the social media pages. Their Caracoon Petit Martinique Facebook page. I was joining in the celebrations there. Young Deacon Mitchell, 44 years old, Rita. My mother sent me a screenshot of that. She says, I think she said, seize the moment.
Seize the moment.
Seize the moment. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Vote he's Prime Minister of Grenada.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's excellent. I think what everybody is realizing is that.
Hold 1 second, if you don't mind. Spice Man says his party lost. Keith Mitchell's party lost.
Oh yes, because it was.
Sad to say, sad to hear. But
yes, correct. Yes, because he was rooting for the incumbent.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot. Yes, he was rooting for the incumbent.
Sorry about that, Spice Man. Better luck next time.
And it was the National Democratic Party.
Correct.
Won. And like I said, they were very keen on things that we were mentioning yesterday morning about the statement that they put out
about the ID cards and so on.
When it comes to that.
Yeah, you got to be militant and vigilant.
To show that they were on the ball from the beginning.
Correct. So. And you know, we're going to touch on some of the issues in their manifesto and see whether some of that could be translated.
I told you, read the manifestos, read them.
Yeah, you told us and we heard you.
Yes. Just do it all the time. It never gives you a wrong direction if you go like that. I see Warren Figueroa is joining us this morning.
Hi Warren, how are you doing? How is Long Island? How is Long Island doing?
I can't be saying good morning, beautiful Jarrett and Sharon.
Yeah, I'm happy to know beautiful. You know, as I saw Candy, I remember our other Candy, Chan. Yes. I was wondering whether she is still in Florida or Candy.
No,
she's back home.
She's in no, right now.
No, she's back home right now.
I know she's doing
Quinn.
I know she's doing some touring today.
Okay, good.
Some work touring.
And Quinn and Candy Chan is some other of our favorite viewers who joined us, and they were taking a walk in Florida recently. So I was just catching up with Jurita.
So Carl Fordyce is saying he's surprised to see me today. Like I don't know what was expected. I think Sheridan.
We do what we gotta do. We gotta see.
I think Sheridan is surprised to see me today too. But trust me, I am telling you, he's surprised to see me too. I don't like how y'all got me down. That's what I can say.
Cherry Baskin, Greenwich Garden, she said party with us. We don't run on water, folks. We don't run on water, and for the past 2 or 3 months, we've been in the red. We need your help. So thanks, Cherry, for reminding us. We need your
June
help.
Cameron says that her birthday is on June 29th. That's a day before Shara. You and Shara should get along really well.
Wow,
You
excellent.
know,
You know, I have a nephew also who's on the 29th.
29th.
And I have an aunt.
Mhm.
Her name is June. Her birthday is on the exact day with mine, the 30th too. So
Yes.
good people were born in June. Good people, good people.
Excellent,
Okay,
beautiful, awesome,
yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah. All the above, all the
Those
above.
people, great people. Yes,
Yeah,
I see. You said it's said in Nguasi.
yeah.
Is
I
that
think
the right
I
name?
hope so. I hope so. And the person says they give us 25 shares, and ask whether we found so. We're very close, very close to
Finding
cracking
Sue?
this one. Very close. Any day now.
Listen, if we don't find Sue, something is wrong.
Any day now, we gonna find Sue. Guys, what kind of week you all had? We hope it's a good week. But for me personally, like the time is just running. The time is just running. I feel so.
Sure, having an off day today. He's not gonna tell you. I'm telling you.
Huh? No,
Sure, having an off
I
day.
feel like the year
The year.
is just going. That's how I feel.
Well,
Like,
I feel it too, and I think that when you have like when you're around birthdays and stuff like that, you feel it even more. Like it's like there is not enough time for you to get all the stuff that you want to get done.
yeah. That's
So
where I
I
am. There's so much stuff
understand.
keeps
Yes.
popping up on the agenda and it's staying there, and we just gotta it's like how you showed up this morning. We just gotta show up
Yes.
to get stuff
Well, you
done.
don't have to. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. If you want to be doing what you gotta get, if you want to see the results, basically, you have to do what you do.
Talking about results, Parasham Kishore wants to see the SOPs.
Parishram Kitchen wants to be SOP. Standard operating procedures.
That too.
For the show.
I don't know if
the SOPs of the show is
or it's
basically
for
we're
the
up at we're up
grenade
in the
elections.
morning,
It could be, I don't
very
know.
early.
PNP got to show. It's PNP. Got to show the.
I know it's not safe in the polls because if it's safe in the polls,
yeah,
then
2 years behind.
he will be real slow.
We racing forward. Parasham Kishore at the back.
Even Irfan don't want to see the SOPs.
No.
Because he's in office on SORs.
Yeah, yes.
So I don't understand.
Donald Lane is here with us, but it's cool. It's cool.
Yes.
Samuel Jilks and all the other folks. It's cool. We love the little pushback here. We can't lie. We love the little pushback in families, as we are, as you all see, we are the FYI family. We like a little contention here and there, pushback and so on. So
listen,
we all go for it.
Kishore comes online every morning. I think it's Kishore. I think it's there's Paul Passad also. These are some ardent viewers of the program, so there is either someone is paying them, and if someone's paying you, good job,
Yeah. I like a little walk like that on the side.
Fine change.
I like a little walk on the side like that.
But if someone isn't, I mean that it has to be that off of your own conviction.
Yeah.
You know that you have to come here and be a part of the crowd. So good going for you, either ways.
Yeah. I wish we had a little bigger space to have perhaps a live audience. We can say, Parasham Kishore, come on down. Take a seat with us and let's have a chat. And these SOPs and so on.
Yeah. That's discussion that we would love to have with persons, because I am me for sure, for certain, especially when it comes to, I see a lot of persons making comments about the elections and so forth, but I see a lot of misinformation also that persons have, and a lot of things needs to be cleared up about how the whole process is done and all of that. So sometimes you can have share some information.
I love some of the comments I'm seeing with Parasham, because
Maureen said, don't forget Leon Gorbadat.
Parasham has been saying about who is Bearfish Cooks and so on. No, I love that, because there we have Mr. Jack Dio in his own living room making deals and that kind of stuff on plain camera, and Parasham don't have ICC that. Who is he to be calling people crooks? Huh? Yeah.
Parasham probably
but crooks right in front of your face.
Parasham probably have his own meetings.
How Parasham, how many meetings you had there? What did you get, Parasham, from Sue? How many meetings you might have had?
I hope it's something. Listen.
Yeah.
But
Make your money.
But guys, listen. I always say it, and I'm going to continue to say it on this particular program, that we're having this interactive as we can possibly make it, to make sure that you come in Your views don't have to be our views. We're going to try to
Lord
integrate
knows.
as much as we can. We're going to try to be responding to the comments that come in, whether or not it is our views. And I always say that to persons like Parashram, persons like Leon, persons like Paul, and so forth. Continue to come, give your comments and all of
Yeah,
that. And the
yeah,
more comments
yeah,
you give, the more visibility you give to the
yeah,
program also. So we're very, very
yeah.
happy for that. So the more comments in the comment section, the more the show is automatically popped up on person's feed. That's how it works. So we're
Please and
absolutely
thank you.
happy for you coming and making
Please and thank you.
comments.
And you all know it's Friday and we don't gear down.
Yes.
We just hit the throttle in a higher gear.
Mhm.
So you all feel free, and we encourage you to share. As Rita says, it helps, the spread of the program. Other
Yeah.
folks getting valid and credible information. And this is why we do this, what we want to keep on doing, giving you guys the information, because when it's filtered out there, you got people like Parasham talking about SOPs and so on, and who is crooks, and we've got to peel back the mask and take off the blinders.
We will try.
Yeah, it's hard for some people.
We will
It's
try.
hard.
I would say
It's hard for some
I'll
people.
do my best.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I'll do
yeah,
my
yeah,
best to
yeah,
take
yeah,
it off.
yeah.
But guys, let us know, like I'm saying. Let me see how the shares is going right now this morning. We cannot be lacking in shares at all. We need the shares to be up and about. Keith Evans is here also.
Naomi has a very interesting comment here. Naomi no Shable rather. Naomi said, let them come in the comments. We're waiting for them. We're waiting for Friday in the comments. Brenda Moore, good to see you. Happy Friday to you as well. Donnie's London, welcome. Of course, Beatrice Selby is always here. We love having folks like
I
Beatrice.
see Gail Rogers. I see you there, Gail.
Yeah. Warren says he hopes that Parasham took his monkeypox vaccine. It
Okay.
might be onto something there.
Yes.
So there you have it. Rita, we got anything in the morning papers? Or are we just gonna slide right into the what's percolating, what's brewing?
Let's go into what's real, because I was
All
scrolling
right.
the morning paper and I'm not seeing anything that I really want to highlight
Yeah,
this morning.
you only see things with Parasham. Nothing you want to highlight.
No, nothing that I want to
Nothing you
highlight
wish I
this
highlight.
morning in the morning papers in
Mhm.
particular. But I want to start off this morning by saying, and I have to say, we have to extend sincere condolences.
Yes, let's start there.
Sincere condolences.
Let's start there.
It's not a good morning for us
Yeah.
when it comes to the AP and UFC. We have a family by ourselves here, and we have to say and just inform you guys on the passing of the husband of Natasha Singh Lewis, Honorable Natasha Singh Lewis MP.
Yeah.
Her husband passed away yesterday, so we invite you all to extend your condolences to her as well. I know this is a very difficult time for her, but we will be giving all the support that we can on this end, and we encourage you to do the same at your end. Very, very sad day yesterday for her, and continue to be difficult days ahead as she gets through this time. Yes.
Yeah. Our thoughts and prayers go out to your entire family, and as Julie says, keep them in your prayers. You people of faith, keep them in your
Yes.
prayers. Keep them in your prayers.
That is correct.
Yeah. You know who need prayers also? Boris Johnson.
Yes.
A lot of stuff happening in the UK today. A lot of stuff happening, and he got a fight of his life. He has a lot of issues where you had Partygate, like we got Sue-gate here. Well, during COVID, this is a country that actually takes transparency and rule of law and fairness and so on very, very seriously. And so his party had some infractions. He himself was part, I think, of a party at it's not Lot 10, they call it 10 Dowling Street. Am I getting it right, Teresa? Whatever is the street, the Prime Minister house is Dowling Street. It's some square.
How do you get to Dowling Street, Sharon?
It's 10 where?
Oh my goodness.
Wherever the Prime Minister's official residence is. They had some parties there during COVID and so on. And they're still in the throes of that, among other things, the backlash of all of that. They had some by-elections quite recently, and both of those by-elections were lost. Both of them were lost, and that's what's going on that front. And so again, the whole leadership of Boris Johnson is being brought into question right now.
I have been saying miraculously, as it may seem, Boris have been doing something right, because Boris keeps surviving these things, Boris keeps surviving. I thought that he would have been gone at the last time, but Boris keeps coming through, and then there was this whole scandal with them members of his side and looking at pornography within the
in
house
Parliament and all that.
and all of that. So it's like one thing after the next. He's not getting arrested at all.
Like a PP government.
But it
One
seems
storm
like
to
a
the
very
next.
organized attack to their side and him in particular. So I have to say that he has been surprising me a whole lot by his ability to survive it all. But I don't know how longer that is gonna hold on, because if persons, and I always say in politics, when you're involved in politics, when you're entering the politics, you should also have an exit strategy. You must never be there to the point that you're forced out of the door. That's not how I believe anyone's political legacy should be, that you're forced out. You go, you have your stint, and you get some work done, whatever it is, check off the boxes, make the changes, and then you gracefully step aside. Like, I don't understand what it is for some persons who just want to be there, until, I don't know, some people just don't want to leave.
And while that is happening, those two by-election losses there in the UK, and again, very damaging to the leadership of Boris Johnson. I saw overnight on Twitter, the chairman of his Conservative Party has resigned. This is Oliver Dowden, who posted a letter on Twitter. And the letter reads, "Dear Prime Minister, it is with great sadness that I must resign as chairman of the Conservative Party with immediate effect." It says, "Yesterday's parliamentary by-election are the latest in a run of very poor results for our party. Our supporters are distressed and disappointed by recent events, and I share their feelings. We cannot carry on with business as usual. Somebody must take responsibility, and I have concluded in these circumstances, it might be right for me, it would not be right, rather, for me to remain in office." He concludes by saying, "It has been an honor to serve in your cabinet as party chairman, culture secretary, and minister for the cabinet office. In particular, I want to take the opportunity to pay tribute to our excellent Conservative volunteers and staffers who work so tirelessly for our cause. They are the backbone of our great party and deserve better than this. Finally, I want to emphasize that this is a deeply personal decision that I have taken alone. I will always remain loyal to the Conservative Party." So, head of the Conservative Party walks, the chairman rather, in the face of these by-election losses.
Yeah, I have to say also that usually when guys, before I was actively involved in politics, I used to read these things at face value. But now, after having my own bit of experience in the political circles, when I read these things, I would say, let me wait to see the actions that follow this particular piece. Let me wait to see the actions that follow this particular piece, because I'm not taking it as face value as being said here. I know he's saying it's a deeply personal decision and all of that, but definitely if you are having by-elections and so forth and the results is coming out as is, you have to restructure. You have to go back to the drawing board and change something that you're doing. If it's not working sometimes, but if it's not working with the same players, you have to change the players. If it's not working with the same strategy, you have to change the strategy, but changes have to be made. And I think that's what he's getting to. So if there's an unwillingness of anyone to actually change and to be a part of that change, then I can understand that being sentiments there.
Elections have consequences.
Severe consequences.
Elections have consequences. On the international front, also we see in the Ukraine, the Ukraine has been granted its candidacy has been given. It has candidacy status rather. At the, let me make sure. Yeah, it has candidate status in the European Union now, and so that is something that we're looking at. And persons are saying that this will strengthen Europe as Russia threatens the freedoms in Europe, because people say if you allow the Ukraine to fall to Russia, then they become kind of like Hitler. They start kind of taking up more and more real estate in our hemisphere.
It's true. It's very true. I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yep. So again, Ukraine has been granted candidate status in the EU, and we know this is one of the things that Vladimir Putin was fighting against, and those neighboring countries there to Europe as well, especially joining NATO and so on. They're very, very much up against that. But we're
I
hoping
understand that part too.
good sense
Yes.
prevails now.
I
You know,
understand
good
that
sense
part
prevails.
too, but like I always say that I'm not the expert when it comes to the geopolitics and the international affairs. So I usually reserve a lot of my comments when it comes to these particular matters because these have been history. Before I was born, issues that has come to where it is today.
Correct. And closer to home, I almost said locally, closer to home, you have this election that has happened
Grenada.
in Granada. The Spice Island, rock and come in, Spice man. Rock and come in. Young man,
He looks younger than 44. I must say.
attorney at law. He's kept well. Everybody's outside taking Nigeria. We've kept well too. Right? 44 years old.
Mhm.
He is an attorney at law. And, you know, this is his time.
Mhm.
This is his time. He's managed to pull off this 9-6 win. There's a 15-seat National Assembly there in Grenada. His party has won 9 of the 15 seats. And, you know, one Mitchell has gone, Dr. Keith Mitchell, who's been there for a very, very long time. My mother
Yeah.
sent me some information on Dr. Keith Mitchell just recently. It might be helpful to us because, and I have this affinity with Grenada because my mother lived there for quite some time
Mhm.
when I was younger, and she sent me some information recently. And you know, as persons may come and go, allow us to say in some instances, you know, thank you for your service, thank you for your service, because Keith Mitchell has been there for a very long time, and my mother tells me that NNP is the new national party of Grenada, led by Dr. Keith Mitchell, the longest serving prime minister of Grenada, and that is 19 years. He served from 1995 to 2008, and then again from 2013 to present, 19 years. And you know, you were just talking, he's 76 years old. He has a PhD in statistics. I think he's the only person in the region that holds a PhD in statistics. Very bright fellow, very bright fellow. But I think you were talking earlier on about when it's time to go. I
Yeah.
mean, 19 years you had.
Yeah.
19 years.
Yeah.
You had a good run.
You know,
Had a good run.
times change,
Right.
and people have to be okay with it. You can't hold on to
Yeah. You don't own it. You don't
you
own
don't
it.
want to own that seat.
Yeah.
If people understand that people would operate differently, you know, the seat when you go into public office, the seat that you said is never your seat.
Yeah. People think
You
it's
are just there
hereditary, like
as a
like the Queen.
representative of the
They
people.
were 70 years
Yeah.
on the throne and so on.
You just
you know?
you just do things
Yeah.
just do things differently.
Yeah.
Differently. If you want a democracy, then you have to
Yeah.
operate.
2
as
terms,
it
I think.
is,
You get 2
know?
terms, and then you
Come on.
go to pasture.
Come on.
You know,
Yeah.
2 terms, you go to pasture. You bring in fresh ideas, fresh
Yeah.
legs, and so on, and then you move along.
If you haven't been able to do if you haven't been able to do work in 2 terms, then what are you doing
Yeah.
at all?
19 years, you know, 19 years.
So-
Come on. But
Yeah.
you know, I want to say thanks
And I hold that
Um,
sentiment, you know.
his service, because I know that kind of leadership would have also impacted the wider Caribbean through CARICOM and all of that. And Keith Mitchell has been one of those recognizable faces you've seen. But if you look across when you have has a government meeting in CARICOM, you can see the guard is changing.
Yeah.
You can see the guard is changing, and that's a good thing.
It is.
That's a good thing. It's the time for a new cadre of leaders in not only our country but in the region too, to kind of push this thing forward.
Well, I agree with everything Sherrod is saying there, but I think one of some of the important things, and I know Sherrod is particularly interested in some of the things that the new PM actually promised.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
what persons are
yeah.
looking forward to have. you
Yeah,
know?
and it seems like though you know is a Mitchell dynasty. Well, not Comey dynasty, but they aren't related. But it's a Mitchell.
You know, I'm not gonna strike
line,
off that. I
you know.
said to myself, unless I'm going to go and research this to make sure that they're not related, I'm not going to go down that. Are you sure? Are you sure they're not related?
As far as I know,
From
maybe
one Mitchell to the
maybe
next.
all Mitchells are
I don't
related. Folks, the outgoing prime minister is Keith Mitchell,
Yes.
and the incoming prime minister is
Dickon
Dickon Mitchell.
Mitchell.
So there we are. But it's interesting some of the things that they have in their manifesto. The incoming government, it might resonate with some of you guys. Number one, as articulated, we picked this up from Loop Caribbean News. Number one is legalize cannabis and create a legal framework for its production and sale. 2, pay workers.
I can see myself going in that direction.
Pay workers twice per month to assist in smoothing their cash flow challenges and increase the volume of business transaction in the economy,
Mhm.
right? Pay them twice per month, pay pension, gratuity, and other retiring benefits in keeping with the Constitution. Don't hold up people money.
Mhm.
Implement a national minimum wage and a wage and income policy. This part of what in the manifesto. Free. I thought this was interesting,
Very
Rita.
much so.
Free universal education up to community college,
Mhm.
and have at least one child per household provided with 100% financial support in obtaining a first degree.
Mhm.
That sounds very innovative.
It does. It does. So I want, and let me go to number two. I want to just shed some of my own light on number two. It's interested, and this is why I say sometimes you have to bring in fresh a fresh face with fresh ideas and so forth to the front, particularly when it comes to dealing with the issues we have today. And I found it interesting that this was one of their plans to pay workers twice per month to assist. And it is something that they have explored, and I'm going to be looking to see how that moves forward. Because when things, especially with cost of living right now, the way in which things are going throughout the Caribbean, Guyana, we have our own challenges. So sometimes it's good for us to take pattern and so. But let's look and see how that goes. And the challenges not going to be a smooth flow, I can say that for us. But the challenges that may come with that, and see if benefits outweigh difficulties and so forth. But when it comes to paying pension, when I read this particular one, I'm thinking is in keeping with the Constitution. I'm not sure what's going on over there, but it made me remember the fact that in our National Assembly we had a budget that was passed, and you had an increase that was passed for pensioners and so
Yeah.
forth,
Yep.
particularly for
Yep.
this year. But then persons didn't realize that pensioners were not going to be paid that increase for the full 12 months, and they're going to be
Correct.
getting it for 10 months. And I learned at the Public Accounts Committee level that the 2 months of money that is not being paid to the pensioners is going to be retained and labeled as savings. So of course I have a problem with that. Right?
Interesting.
That's what's going on
Interesting.
at home right now when we have
Interesting.
Grenada going in the direction of paying people according to the Constitution and those things.
Yeah.
Free education is something we've been talking about. I know particularly I have to just highlight. I know the Alliance Exchange has been speaking about free university education. Well, overall, from the beginning, as our Constitution has it, we're in breach of the Constitution
So many things.
every single
So
time
many
a
things.
student has to pay at university again. When the Constitution says that it's free education from nursery to university, and persons are still paying there. So we have a lot of these things, some of our own challenges that we need to be dealing. But I say kudos on those things, and when it comes to number one, goodness, Sharon, I know this is something that you
Yeah.
yourself have been
Yeah.
championing at the
Yeah.
level of the National Assembly when it comes to cannabis and how we're dealing with it every single day. I found it ridiculous. Only recently, I think a young lady was put behind bars because of a joint,
Mhm.
and the fact is that these are things that were brought up. It was Sherrod Duncan himself that took that motion to the National Assembly. The PPP didn't want to go in that direction, so they brought their own,
That's how the folks
it
are.
was sent to a select committee, and now it's dying there at that select committee when persons are being thrown in jail for a joint. We have to move ahead from that. We're not going anywhere as a society if we're not moving away from that. We got persons, members of the National Assembly, that smoke packs of cigarettes per day. Every minute they got to run outside because they got to smoke a cigarette and so forth. That's way more dangerous than actually a joint, as we would say in Guyana. A lot of work we need to still push, and I'm glad to see Grenada going in this direction, I must say.
Great to see them proceeding in this
Yes.
direction. And while that is being done there, folks, closer to home, the PPP local government campaign rolled into South Granville quite recently.
Yes.
The local government election campaign. But some of the issues that came out of this meeting in South with the ministers, it's quite interesting. You have, they say, 7 ministers visited South Granville, but I don't know if we got the impact of 7 ministers visiting. I notably, the vice president was absent, staying out a bit of the headlines, given Sugate, but we come into that. We come into that. Don't rush us. Some of the things that were discussed here, finding my way in my notes. at this ministerial outreach is that 20 alleyways are to be clean. So it's like is what it's 2 point something to per minister. That's what we get with 7 ministers visiting. But what I want to note here is that during the APNU tenure, because this used to be my constituency, South Ramville, there was a massive clearing and desilting of drains. And not only did we do that, the people who know about drainage were brought in. We had some Dutch folks who came and mapped the drainage system in that area. And we know, for instance, that North Ramville used to use drains traditionally in Oga, and because of some challenges with the drainage there, they had rerouted some of that water and so on to drain eventually in Rumville through South. Those are some of the changes that were made, and all of the drains in North and South Rumville were cleared. I am happy to see this initiative because, like grass growing, once cut is not always cut. You have to go back and you have to do that work almost annually. But it's interesting to note they're only going to be doing 20 alleyways. Now, this is like a drop in the ocean. This could be 2 or 3 streets in South alone, and you got the whole of North Ramville. In that area alone, you might got about 30,000 people living. So it's a big expanse there. And to see that only 20 alleyways are going to be cleared is quite interesting, I thought. And I see also the promise. These are all promises. And Starbucks News yesterday has quite an interesting editorial on Irfan Ali and their promises, because they make the promises, and that is to them like they're doing the actual thing. Again, promises to fix the Aubrey Barker Road. What's interesting, again, a lot of work was done over in this area in the last 5 years under the last administration. That's important. And again, this effort here is again welcome because roads deteriorate over time. But more so, Caneview Avenue, David Rose Street into Caneview Avenue was done within the last 5 years. There's a big construction project that is going on in the area behind Caneview Avenue that used to be Canefield is now housing projects there. And lots of those industrial trucks that traverse an area have damaged that road completely. So one, there needs to be some kind of a policy how these trucks can traverse, because they break up the road as happening there currently, and those companies don't take ownership to repairing those kinds of damages. So again, these are welcome initiatives. The taxpayers' money going to do this. We welcome it. We hope that we could have more of it, because it's not just Aubrey Barker Road that needs attention. The Caneview Avenue in that specific area of David Road Street needs lots of attention there, because all like now you have the rainy season. It is hell if you have a huge downpour. It's flooded, it's mud and muck and all kinds of stuff there. And we hope that this kind of effort is replicated in all communities. We covered last evening, for instance, in Barnwell North and South, where those 3 children met their gruesome demise there. Tracy Flu's 3 kids, thoughts and prayers still with our family. Folks were sending us photographs with those roads still impassable. If a house there is on fire, you'll have the same result with the fire service not being able to get to some of the houses there. We got to fix problems and not kick it on the road.
Yeah, I have to, but there's one comment that I have to make when it comes to that particular action. And I don't even want to say initiative or anything like that, because it is the responsibility of whatever government is in office to make sure that you do such things. When it comes to roads and drainage and so, I hate to see, and this is overall, this is not in particular thing, but that is the responsibility of the government of the day, to make sure that those things are in place and fixed and kept. That there's no bit of innovation and big announcement that should come with that. That should be a natural course of action. You're in office. That's one of the things that have to be done. Roads and drains needs to be maintained. That I don't know how we're at a point in 2022 that's a big announcement. We can fix the road. Like, thank you so much. No. I don't see it like
those
that.
Those are ordinary services provided by any government and any administration.
Things that should be a big announcement, and so things that are innovative and new, things out of the world.
I see some stuff in the manifesto here.
Right? So
Grenada, this
that's
incoming government,
exactly
that's innovative.
right. Not fix the roads. We're going to fix the roads
Put
and
in street
those
lights
things.
and so on.
That's expected. When it comes to those infrastructure maintenance, that is the duty of any government in place. And the very fact that has to come with such announcement, you need a whole line of ministers and so forth to say, oh, well, we're going to come in South and we're going to fix the roads and streets.
Yeah.
No,
We can see a lot of announcements now because, of course,
no.
all of this is campaigning that's happening. For instance, I saw an announcement quite recently from the Ministry of Home Affairs. They presented a gentleman with a bicycle, and that was an
A bicycle.
Yeah,
Yes, somebody bicycle.
Cameras and
That's an
so on, and people from DPI and NC, and a bicycle was being handed over. That was.
And it probably costs more to have the PR
than
the bicycle. Right? And we're supposed to be happy.
Yeah.
Say kudos
Yeah.
to
That's kind of stuff happening now. But we got some stuff happening in Bartica too that begs the question, what's happening there? In Bartica, we're seeing, for instance, a 12-year-old took some stuff to school. It's not yet legal,
Yeah.
And we wanting to know how a 12-year-old gets ganja into school and sharing with friends and so on. And while you ruminate on that, we've also been following. We saw a flogging incident in Bartica recently by somebody in a soldier's uniform, and we're being told it's a teacher at the school who's a reservist. Right? So it's a lot of stuff you got to happen. Are you allowed to wear your army fatigues to school?
Actually, when it comes to that particular matter, I'm going to be having a meeting later on in the day concerning that particular matter with some folks there. So I'll be definitely weighing in some more on that, because I need to have a little bit more details on that particular matter, because at the surface of it, and as we're seeing right about now, everyone should be very furious about that action. And this I'm speaking particularly about the person in soldier uniform that actually with a cane they're flogging a child, because when it comes to corporal punishment, and so I if you don't know, you know now, like that's something that I'm 100% against. And I say the very least I expect is for the rules to be followed as it pertains to that. And then there's another issue there with someone in a soldier uniform. So I'm going to definitely be be having a meeting. Already made my arrangements for that with persons regarding that event that happened there, and I'll let you guys know as soon as I can what transpired. But when it comes to the 12-year-old now, the 12-year-old and having marijuana, the access to marijuana, as parents, we have to be extremely careful. Number one, like Sherry just said, cannabis is not legal, and that is so basically the parents having something illegal within the home is something that we can't be okay with at any point in time. We are doing our part, and when it comes to protecting your children, even cigarettes that are illegal, you have to protect your children. Your children shouldn't be carrying cigarettes to school or anything of that nature. So it's very, very concerning. And I have to say that we continue to see various breakdown of law and order in different aspects of the society, and we need to get a grip of ourselves altogether as a nation and say that there's something that is going wrong, and we need to go back to the drawing board and fix things as we move forward. But 12-year-olds, that's not an avenue that they should be going down. And parents, we need to protect our children. I don't know how many times I have to say this. As adults, we have the responsibility to protect children and keep them safe. Safeguard them in all directions. You don't give your children alcohol to drink. I know some parents do that nonsense. Nope. You don't give your children alcohol to drink. You don't let your children be around illegal drugs and all of those things. You don't have anything that's harmful to your children. You even keep your children, you keep their little minds away from indecent music and all of those things. We have a responsibility to the future of our nation, and it comes by the way in which you nurture your children at home. So a very, very disturbing situation that is, because as a parent of a child that's going to the school, that your child probably in the same class with that child, you're thinking like, what is the environment you're sending your child out into? Because when you send your children to school, you want them to be in a safe environment. You're not sending your child to school where they can access drugs within a classroom. So it's a very, very crazy situation there that needs to be addressed immediately. So I know the education department is already doing some work work on that within the region, but a whole lot more work needs to be done on that front because you have to address the root of the issue. And the root of the issue is not the school.
Well, we're gonna have to hold and see what was responsible for that flogging, what becomes of that. Because it seems as though
No,
like the whole
I
school
was
system has
particularly
been turned
talking about
upside
the
down.
drugs there.
Right?
But when it comes to the flogging, nope.
Yeah.
I can't see any justification coming, but I want to be keen on the details as to who and how, where and why.
In other things happening, other stuff brewing, this ramp logistic issue is still with us, and we're being made to understand now that they're being fined $20 million by GRA for violating the Customs Act. This is quite interesting. It seems somebody wants this company gone, and this is how the government is going after them. Part of the notation we have here is that it was revealed that the company has recently been fined $20 million by the GRA, again for violating the Customs Act. It said that this company is responsible for freight forwarding and supply chain management services, and it is said that one of its vessels failed to report that it was departing Guyana. One of its vessels failed to report it was departing Guyana, and for that, the company is being fined $20 million. Something looks very untoward here. Apologies there. Something looks very untoward here, and those of us who understand these issues know somebody wants this company gone. They've been taking up too much space here. Maybe somebody wants a similar company.
Maybe a similar company is already out there.
Yes.
All you can do is check for the similar companies, and you'll have a better understanding of what is going on.
Ramps Logistics does not rule out pursuing legal action on this issue here. So this look as though there is more in the matter than on the pistol.
Yes, and then we will be following that completely. But like Cheryl said, there's always more to the story. And as we know how the administration operates, is that once you see them going down that road to fight, it's not as though these people are squeaky clean and they do things in the straight and narrow. So when you see they're going down that road as they are going down that road with ramps, you know that they're more than likely there is some other company that they are trying to eliminate the competition for. So
there's a happening there. There's a happening there, and of course, on every front in this country, there's something happening to make you shake your head. Now, the Ropes and Ben and the folks over at the passport office telling us that there will be more delays in the time you receive your passport because of shipment of materials. They haven't been getting that. They say, the chain supply issues internationally have been causing them to have undue delays in persons receiving their passports. And, we had solved this problem, we had solved this problem, but I don't know. We had solved this problem.
Charlotte's talking about the delay there with the passport.
Yeah.
And yes, that's the first thing you can say, that we had solved those problems before. But then there's another delay that's been spoken about. Also, when it comes to the person's birth certificates, right? And that's a big issue. But what's strange is that the birth certificate, now they're saying that persons didn't fill out the information correct, Suddenly.
Took a while for them to say that.
Suddenly, persons don't fill out the information.
Took a while.
And that's why they probably having this delay when it comes to the birth certificate. There's a delay in birth certificate probably because the persons at the helm, they are involved in other activities and not really doing their work.
That took a while.
So
we hope it gets better. We can only hope that it gets better, and that the supply chains and the logistical issues resolve themselves. So people can get these services on time.
Correct. And I have to say also, sometimes when it comes to passport and the fact that there is a delay, there is that bit of chaos over there. But just to be, when you have to prep yourselves right now, we're in a system that is chaos all over. There's slots in the system. You would get taken forever to get through anything. So I just advise you guys, that there's big incompetence at every level, every department, and so forth. So as best as you can, if you can do something ahead of time, try your best to do it ahead of time so that your smooth flow is not interrupted because of persons incompetence at this point in time. So guys,
it is what it is.
Try your best to see if you can do things ahead of time.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, it's the passport office, it's the GRO's office, it's every place you go. That is one thing that peeps people. We go to the diaspora where people are accustomed to getting efficient service. I'm saying, come home to what?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah,
You know,
because even when and one of the things that persons, I think now, yes, it's now a little different, because in that time that there was no CO at GCOM, also in that time frame, persons could not even have renew their ID cards. Some persons could not have replacement for lost ID cards altogether, and all of that, because there's no system set up that, oh, in the absence of this person, then the country have to go on.
it's always a one man. That's you
Everybody
always
got a
trying that.
stance.
You always trying
Everything is at a
that.
standstill because
Exactly.
of that. So and that's a problem. It's a problem that we've been having for quite
Yeah.
some time, and because persons want to just have the control in their hands, and they don't want to actually disseminate some bit of power. Decentralize the power altogether and get the work done. But yeah, as Harris said yesterday, one person played in every spot.
Yep, yep. And on another front, here is happening. We saw this yesterday on social media. The Mohammed's enterprise are always moving. Apparently, they're putting up a six-story building, an office building on Lamaha Street. They've been doing a lot of work in communities and benevolent work and so forth. Kudos to them. And we see now they're doing putting up a building, an office building on Lamaha Street. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I did say, since we're mentioning this particular matter, since we're mentioning this particular matter, kudos to all local companies that has been doing their part to excel in a business and so forth. Kudos to all those people. I have to say that we want to see people do well. We want to see people do well. And I have to say, when it comes to the work that Mohammed's have been doing and Mohammed's enterprise, I have to know that I did see it being circulated that they built a house for that family, the mother and her children that lost their home to a fire. So kudos to them. When the most person, the more you can help out people, is better. And I have to say, at this point in time, I would not be myself if I did not say real change and real help comes when you actually address the structure that has been failing altogether. So I know a lot of work been doing on that part, but the institutions now, the government has to step in play step in and make sure that the institutions and are set up so that persons are not in that dire need for basic food and shelter in our country.
Yeah. The systems must work.
Yep.
Which brings us to the biggest issue, Sugate.
The system not working. What brings us to the systems not working?
Yeah. The system's not working. So everybody doing what they want. Everybody doing whatever they want. Sugate. Y'all know y'all boy in Rwanda. And they're discussing everything else under the sun, except this national embarrassment, the Sugate. Right? Everything under the sun to be a distraction. But Sugate. And we see them talking, for instance, about that the potential exists for vaccine production in Guyana. No, you can't get a clean running water from your pipe. This vaccine I can trust you all to make.
Oh, goodness.
Right? That's what he's telling the people in Rwanda.
Yeah.
The potential exists for vaccine production plant in Guyana.
Yeah.
You all got a little plant somewhere, a little medical storage place. People thieving out drugs, selling out drugs, and all of that. The system needs a lot of work there, and we can talk about vaccine production.
All right. So, what I have to say at this point in time, a lot of times we hear these announcements and these plans, and things that are seemingly good, and it seems to be the country's name, or this can come from this country, this can come from Guyana, and so forth. There is a problem. There is a problem, and you need to do your research as much as you possibly can.
Tell us.
Right? You have to look at, there are some countries that are some startling examples of what happens when you go and you fixate on having multinational corporations and so forth within your country, and doing a lot of work within your country, and not actually looking to safeguard the citizens of your country. Right? They are very, very damaging, stories altogether that you can look at. Some of the things we have to speak about is the fact that 90%, well, let me just not use those figures loosely, But the majority of things, production items, when you look at a production line and so forth today, a significant amount of those items are being produced in countries like Guyana, some aspect of it in developing countries. My terminology should be right now. Developing countries, there are a lot of multinational corporations that actually go to developing countries and say, oh, you produce this, you manufacture this, you produce this, and so forth. And the actual benefit is never given to the people within the country. And we have to be very careful the balance that we're looking for before we get ourselves into some really hot waters. And I'm consistently saying that if we want to have a development, you have to start at home with the people. Your people needs to be empowered to actually
let a charity start there.
Not just a charity, because we're not even looking for the charity altogether. This when it comes to these things, but your people need to be empowered when it comes to having the opportunity to be players in this game, so that they can actually benefit from all that you're saying is available right now. We are seeing too much happening, and the people of Guyana not having the opportunity to benefit from it. Where's the level playing field? Where's the equity? Where's the equitable access to the resources to actually get into the game? It is not there for the ordinary Guyanese man and woman. That is a problem.
I'm happy you mentioned that, because another issue that came up, another headline that came out of this, the FYI in Rwanda, is that inequalities in combating global crisis must be examined, and they talk of things about like food security and access to resources and all of that. It is mind-boggling that they go on the international stage and they say one thing, but on the ground, to let that be actualized, totally absent. Totally absent.
Yeah, what are you looking for when you talk about food security? What's the structure? What's the plan here? What is the plan here? Is the plan here to have Guyanese in the farms, doing the hard work? If that's the plan, you have to ask, like, what is the plan for Guyanese? Don't look at the overarching the systems that is being discussed between the countries and so forth. Oh, you produce this, we produce this. How? How? What is the mechanism in place? How are you integrating it into our country? How are Guyanese going to be benefiting from this altogether? Because if you're talking about large scale farming and those things, I say kudos. We have so much land out there that persons can utilize. But then when you're saying that, oh, we're gonna have a youth coming in from a different country and we're gonna give them X amount of land and they're probably gonna employ some Guyanese, I have a problem there. I have a very big problem there, because that is not what I want. I want to say, yes, we're going to be out there. We're going to be adding to the food security and all of that. We're going to be having large scale farming, and we're going to have somebody from Barbies there. We're going to have somebody from Linden there. We're going to have somebody from Barticon. We're going to have these communities, and we're going to give them land, and we're going to empower them so that they can do large scale production. Right? That is what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, oh, somebody being give somebody some land here and employ some people again. Nope. That is not what I want.
So in this discussion about the inequalities in combating the global crisis, which it's been articulated must be examined, they talked about, for instance, the energy crisis, and we know what's happening, for instance, with gas and so on right now. Then boys say they've met the floor, they can't do nothing else. I saw gas at one gas station pushing, I think, $290. $290. $5,000 I throw in the tank, so at least could carry me for a week. No, it's 2 days spinning around, and that is gone, right? You're talking about again the energy crisis, climate change, the food crisis, and a crisis of inequality. It's interesting to see him talk about food crisis, right? And we know there's been some imported inflation, but largely the stuff that's produced here, they have no real reason to see why some of the prices are where they are currently. Why?
Well, they did say it's a global supply chain that is affecting the price of planting from Mexico, but charged. So if they say that, I'm just saying that to say their level of explanation that has been coming when it comes to inflation altogether. I see some of their support base out there trying to say, what their prices are going to be. Inflation is not something that is unique to Guyana. Nobody ever said that. when it comes to what is unique to Guyana, the PBB administration being in office, as it currently is, need to bring policies to combat with whatever inflation is occurring here. That is what we have been looking for, right? So, and when it comes to, I know fuel price in particular, this is a touchy one for everybody because everybody is there, and we always say, and let me just mention it back one more time. When that excise tax was put at zero, I did come here and say that it was never on things like kerosene oil at the first place. It was never on things like kerosene oil, so it wasn't affecting persons. And that zero there wasn't affecting persons that are in that level of poverty in our country altogether, that they can't even afford to use gas and so forth. It was never on certain items, so it wasn't affecting them. But when it got to zero, I did come here and say that that is not a real mechanism to deal with it. I said that because it's not. I know, like, there are so many developed countries right now that is going down a road that they are looking at all the innovative ways of dealing with the hike in fuel. I know some countries are actually storing fuel at some point in time. I think some countries are storing as much as 5 months worth of fuel so that they have that in a reserve. So the prices are going up. They stop the purchase. They utilize from stores that they have on and wait until there's some bit of regulation in the prices before they get back to buying it at a market price and so forth. But there's the innovative ways needs to be explored in order for us to deal with that.
Yeah, yeah. And we found out, well, while we talk about all of that and all the challenges that remain on the home front, we talk about the school system, what's happening in the economy. We can talk about what's happening in the indigenous community. So again, an editorial just this morning out of Stamford News on that. And like every front, crime, high cost of living, you name it, there's trouble there. Look at what's happening in the business sector. Lots and lots of gnashing of teeth and travail, basically. And I want to reflect on this editorial we saw recently appearing in Kaiser News that says so there was a column, the People in Tom column, which said the president needs to get a grip on his government. Very, very instructive. Is either at least not in charge or he's just going along. He's just adrift. It says here in this column, the country's head of state has given too much leeway for the second vice president to involve himself in too many areas of governance and to be seen as wielding too much influence in government. Full executive authority resides in the president and the president alone. However, the president can delegate aspects of his executive responsibility, and this is done through the assignment of ministerial portfolios. The vice president has been handed responsibility for the country's natural resources sector, but it appears as if he is adopting the role of a super minister by regularly pronouncing on issues which relate to other portfolios. Even yesterday, and this was an editorial from the 22nd, even yesterday, he took the liberty of speaking on the Commission of Inquiry. This is during his press conference, that recent press conference, speaking on the Commission of Inquiry, which had been established. He also speaks regularly on matters concerning the economy and has been the lead person in government's part-time job initiative. The column goes on to say that the Vice News feature did, however, reveal some inappropriate actions, again, saying that the president got to step up. You got to pick up the pace. The Vice News feature reveals some inappropriate actions. For one, right, and I hope what's his name listening now, Parisham, the second vice president is not the Minister of Finance or the Minister with responsibility for investment. The president holds the finance portfolio with responsibility. Sorry, the president holds the finance portfolio and is assisted by a minister with responsibility for finance. Investment issues have long been under the Ministry of Tourism and Industry and Commerce, but it is not clear whether Go Invest, the agency responsible for promoting and facilitating investment, falls under the office of the president or the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. This is a lot of overlapping and confusion powder. The editorial wraps up by stating, either way, the second vice president should not be involved in facilitating any investment outside of the natural resources sector. And even more so, should have excused himself from any discussion of an investment being intermediated by his tenant. This represents a potential conflict of interest, right? You're going to put in your pipe and smoke it. Also, no one should be providing any commitment to facilitate an investment unless that person is au fait with the nature of the business, all right? To express a disinterest in knowing about the business deal of an undercover investor, but at the same time to say that support will be given is an ill-advised response.
That is correct. That is correct.
Ill-advised response.
And they're absolutely correct. And I'm always happy when there are independent media houses coming out with these sentiments. It's absolutely necessary for us to understand that what is going on, what is being described, is not something that, you know, the opposition have an issue with. It's something that everybody should have an issue with, because it projects a system that in which the structures are being bypassed and basically failing. And nobody wants that, because it affects all of us. It affects every single last person that's trying to do something to the book.
Yeah.
All right?
Definitely one of the better columns from People Job.
Yes.
Definitely. And again, it was Starbucks News again, I shouldn't say in tandem with Kaito News, but again, putting forward the issues that the government needs structure. It is okay if you were in a meeting and, you know, somebody raises some issue you can raise with your ministerial colleague. But it seems that it's more rule and exception. Everybody deals with everything.
Yeah.
Right? How can you have any focus, any direction, if anybody could deal with anything? Anybody could deal with NIS, you know, you and up there. It's confusion.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's confusion. And that is what you have happening when the vice president is looking after investment things for his friend, his tenant, in his living room with investors.
Yeah.
But they don't see that as a problem.
And I know it's also, you know, I was looking at the press conference even, and I know that Mr. the owner for Kaito News, Glenn Land himself, was there present doing his own bits of work when it comes to reporting aspect, because he's trying to be on the ball with these issues. And I have to say kudos to these agencies and all the work that they have been doing. Very, very necessary to have the freedom of press within our country. And I encourage the others to go down that route as well, because I am not seeing, and I have to be very honest, you know, I'm not seeing a lot of those new online media houses actually coming with that level of analysis at this point in time. So we encourage them to go down that road to bring the analysis and true and credible information altogether. So guys, it has we are continuing to cover what is going on in the country right now. It's not going to end. We expect to see more coming out, more details as we move forward. So it's still not found based on the information available. If there's any other information, we're going to let you know.
Irrespective of the best efforts of the police force and army, Sue cannot be found.
Apparently, Sue cannot be found. We are yet to hear of any legal action being taken against Sue at the level of the court, as was said at the inception of the release of that report and so forth. There is yet to be any indication that any investigation will be done into the matter of such damning allegations against a sitting VP of the country. So we are yet to be hearing what we are expecting to hear. All we are seeing right about now is persons trying to operate as business as normal, moving around as though there is not an issue, and as though an issue did not come up. So we have to continue to press on the matter every single day.
Correct. That's my time, folks.
That's our time.
That is my time as we head into the weekend. You know, I've really enjoyed having you guys here all week. And we really want to thank you, those of you who took the responsibility to share the live so other folks get credible and valid information. Hazel Johnson, Candy Lynn, Inderjeet, and Mercedes Daniels, Sadie, and Margaret Nelson, all these special folks. I see Michelle Tyrrell, Christy, folks, we've loved having you guys here. Let me talk this. I've loved having you guys here with us. Loved it. Loved it. You know, it's Friday, so we're heading into Talk Back Friday for the podcast at 12, and then we have our final program in the ring this evening for the week. Final program for the week. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to you know, while we do the podcast over the weekend, they have to get some rest and recuperation too. And guys, we cannot say this enough. Don't take us for granted when we say it. When we say we in the real, it means we don't have all of the finances we need to meet our monthly obligations. And we know what's happening in the wild economy there and all of that. is responsible. But we would really love if you guys who haven't saw the opportunity to come on board and to partner with us in terms of keeping our programs running, keeping our programs moving forward. We try every little bit to make sure that we look as professional and we sound as professional as can be, while we have the requisite information, credible and valid. And it costs us something to do all of this, and we depend on you guys and no one else. So we can talk the things. We're not beholden to a businessman. We're not beholden to the government or anybody. We come and we see what are the issues. We put it frank and earnest to you folks, and we invite you guys to come on board, partner with us. We are available via Zelle and PayPal and Cash App. We got MMG, that's the local Cash App. We got MMG, and we also available via MoneyGram and Western Union. Our number for MMG is 627-6963, and that's our WhatsApp number as well. You guys need any guidance, we'll be happy to do so for you.
That is correct, guys.
What's up?
Well, like Shara says, make sure that you partner with us. And there's one bit here, like I just want to emphasize on what you said. It is a unique benefit when you the people are the only one that funds and make sure that the program is on, because no one directs what is said. No one can direct what is said. And there are a lot of times, we note a lot of what has been circulating and all of that. Sometimes directly that, oh, these people can't say what they want to say because of who is funding it. But when you fund it, you make sure that there's always the freedom to actually bring credible.
You all direct us, and what you all been saying is talk the things, and we keep talking the things.
That is correct. It's a pleasure being here with
That's
you guys.
That's time, guys. That's me time.
It is Friday. Make sure that you have
Believe it or not,
very safe weekend.
And
for those of you that's going to be back this midday, make sure that you come prepared to share your views. It's Talk Back Friday. Make sure that you come prepared to share your views. Always send in your voice notes and so forth, guys. Make sure that your view is integrated to the conversation. And then again, in the ring tonight at 8. So have a good day, guys.
Correct. They're telling us the protest continues this morning.
Yes.
Jabdio must go. Muster Point is the square of the revolution. They're going to be out after that in front of the office of the president. We're being told that continues. We're going to see you guys down there. Ground zero. Stay safe, folks. Stay safe.